Hello everyone. There are several processes such as circulation, digestion, excretion which takes place in the body of an organism. All these processes are essential. Reproduction is also one of the processes which is essential for all living organisms. What is reproduction? Reproduction is a process of producing offsprings. Why is reproduction so essential? Well, reproduction is essential as it helps in the continuity of life. What will happen if a species of a plant or an animal stops reproducing? A good question. Children, the species will stop existing. It will cease to exist. That's why reproduction is very essential. If you see the definition, reproduction is a biological process of producing an individual of its own kind. There are two modes of reproduction, children. Asexual mode of reproduction and sexual mode of reproduction. In asexual mode of reproduction, only one parent is involved to produce an individual. But in sexual mode of reproduction, two parents, one male and the female, are required to produce a new individual. In asexual mode of reproduction, there is no fusion of the sex cells, that is, the gametes. But in sexual mode, the fusion of the male and the female gamete is mandatory. There is no fertilization in asexual mode of reproduction, but in sexual, fertilization occurs. The offsprings produced by asexual mode of reproduction will be having identical physical as well as genetic characteristics. But the offsprings produced by sexual will be different. Let us see the characteristics of first asexual mode of reproduction. First, there is only one parent involved. Second, there is no formation of gametes, that is, no fertilization occurs. The process of asexual reproduction occurs very fast. There is a rapid growth and development seen in asexual mode of reproduction. And there is very little variation among the offsprings produced by asexual mode of reproduction. Many animals like hydra, starfish produce asexually, and microorganisms like amoeba, Paramecium euglena also reproduce asexually. Organisms reproduce by using different means like binary fission, budding, and fragmentation. One by one, we will begin these different methods of asexual mode of reproduction. Let us study about binary fission. Binary fission is an asexual mode of reproduction. In this method, the parent cell, it splits into two. Children, the living cell divides into two equal or nearly equal parts. The best example will be the prokaryotes, bacteria. Even some organelles like mitochondria and chloroplast, they show this type of reproduction. Some protozoas like amoeba, euglena, paramecium, chlamydomonas, they also show asexual mode of reproduction. Let us take the first protozoa, amoeba. This amoeba reproduces by using binary fission. In amoeba, binary fission occurs through any plane. Means as amoeba is irregular in shape, it can be separated into two equal parts from any plane, either it be longitudinally or by transverse. That's why this type of binary fission, we call it as simple binary fission. In this binary fission, the mother nucleus elongates and splits into two daughter nucleus. That means two daughter nuclei. These daughter nuclei becomes separate, and the next step, the cytoplasm of the mother cell, it splits into two, producing two daughter cells. Now these two daughter cells, they are identical in terms of characteristics. And even these two daughter cells are able to reproduce by using asexual mode of reproduction. Binary fission is also observed in case of paramecium. In case of paramecium, binary fission occurs through transverse section, that is horizontal. This type of binary fission is called as transverse binary fission. The next example on the screen is euglena. In euglena, binary fission occurs longitudinally. That's why we call this type of binary fission as longitudinal binary fission. As you can see, the next slide is showing budding. Children, budding is another example of one of the methods of asexual mode of reproduction. In this budding, the parent plant or the parent species, it shows the appearance of a bud. Now, what is a bud? It is a small outgrowth on the parent plant because of repeated cell division. This bud, it grows and becomes an adult and detaches itself from the parent body. Once the bud detaches from the parent, it becomes independent individual. Here this bud also shows asexual mode of reproduction. The next mode of asexual of reproduction, the next method is fragmentation. Now in this, the individual is cut or broken into many pieces. These pieces, they grow into separate individuals. Many fully differentiated organisms have the ability to give rise to the organisms from their body parts. Children, if a fragment of this particular parent cell or the parent organism is too large, it has the ability to grow itself into a complete organism. This is called as regeneration. Now that is the next method of asexual reproduction. The capacity to regenerate is very high for some animals. They can reconstruct the entire body from the isolated body parts. So, dear students, today we learned about the reproduction, different modes of reproduction, and the different methods involved in the process of reproduction asexually.